Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Nassau Coliseum on Long Island in New York. We are ready for qualifying in super modified mud racing action, where racers battle an 80-foot long, 36-inch deep mud pit in an elapsed time competition. But there's a catch. The objective is to run that 80-foot mud pit in the shortest elapsed time possible and then stop within another 80-foot distance beyond the finish line. The first man up will be Wayne Franks with a rather unusual piece of equipment. Believe it or not, this at one time was a Ford Ranger pickup. Now chopped, sectioned, and narrowed with a lightweight combination and a fuel-injected Ford power plant. He calls the machine the Gambler. And actually an exceptional run. He'll stop it with plenty of room to spare. The elapsed time for the Gambler, 2.23 seconds. But here is the winningest super modified mud racer of all time, with 45 national event victories to his credit. Tom Martin and the Super Trooper out of Portage, Indiana, a nitrous oxide injected, fuel injected Chevrolet engine producing 1,600 horsepower in a 1932 Chevy 5-window coupe body. Martin signals thumbs up, now waits for the countdown of the Christmas tree starting lights. Incredible run, and Martin actually shut the engine down before the finish line to try and get more room to stop. He knows it was a good one. How about 1.863 seconds? The 1985 world champ David Ray, driving the world's quickest full-bodied pickup, is on the line with supercharged Ford power. A great run, and he'll stop it in time. David Ray, 1.996 seconds, will qualify for the 4-car Camel shootout. And the next driver up will give us the 4th and final position before the bumping procedure begins here in qualifying. New Jersey's Rich Marcini in the naturally wired 1932 Chevrolet. It's a nitrous oxide injected, fuel injected Chevy. There you see him purging the nitrous oxide system. 53 degree below zero oxygen vapors being vented out of the system before making the run. You can see the plumber's nightmare that includes the fuel system and nitrous oxide system on these machines in 1991 configuration. As Marcini stages up, a great run for Rich Marcini. He'll stop it with about 5 feet to spare. The elapsed time for the naturally wired machine is 2.12 seconds, and that will now be the run that it takes to qualify. Here's the new driver on the tour, Paul Schaefer, at the wheel of the car that took Tom Martin to 3 consecutive world championships, the Mud Patrol 32 Chevy. A great run for Schaefer. He'll stop it in time with the Mud Patrol running 2.043 seconds. And that will qualify number 3 in the program. Right now it takes a run of 2.121 seconds to qualify for the shootout. And how about this one? A 17-year-old driver in his first ever indoor event. This is Matt Ward from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. The Mystic Warrior Ford-powered 1930 Model A records an elapsed time of 2:26 and will just miss qualifying. Greg Noonan, in the meantime, on the starting line in the Nancy's Nightmare Chevrolet-powered fiberglass Jeep CJ Funny Car, stages up for his shot at making the program. The countdown begins. And Noonan runs into big-time problems. And after witnessing run after run of 1 second elapsed time, skimming over the surface, now you see what happens when 2,400 pounds loses power. It goes down like the Titanic. And in any U.S. Harvard Association Camel Mud Racing event, one of the worst things that can happen for a track crew member is to have to go out and hook up a stranded machine. If you don't think this stuff is the slimiest, stickiest, gooeyest mud that our track crews can create, you've got another thought coming. So Tom Martin, the defending world champ, leads qualifying at 1.863 seconds, followed by the Midnight Magic Machine As far as upcoming U.S. Hobbit Association Championship events, on October 19th at the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, the U.S. Hobbit Circuit of Champions returns. At Freedom Hall in Louisville, Kentucky on October 25th, the U.S. Hobbit Association Camel Mounted Monster Series returns to Kentucky. And at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania's Pittsburgh Civic Arena, November 8th and 9th, the U.S. Hobbit Association Camel Mounted Monster Tour heads to the northern eastern seaboard. Stay with us on Super Tracks. In just a few moments, Super Tracks continues with more motorsports action. Stay with us. Here at Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York, we are continuing the qualifying round for the 4 available positions for the Camel Super Modified Mud Racing Shootout. East Coast veteran Bill Bartlett is on the starting line with his moonlighting, nitrous-injected 478 cubic inch Ford Bronco. You can see Bartlett shifting the 2-speed transmission right off the starting line. A good run, actually, for the moonlighting machine at 2.46 seconds. But the heavyweight will not qualify for the quick 4 right now. It takes a run of 2:12 to do it. And here is the world elapsed time record holder. The man who's gone 1.68 seconds. Jeff Becker in the Insanity. An incredible run on the brakes hard. He just stops in time. Unbelievable run. The elapsed time, 1.922 seconds. Number 2 qualifier for the Insanity Roadster. Here's the madman of Eastern Mud Racing, Mike Spina, in the Psychotic Beast, supercharged Chevy-powered 27 Ford. Spina had to go quicker than 2.043 seconds. He runs 2.048 seconds. By 5 thousandths of a second, he misses out. Unbelievable. John Herzog in the Papa Smurf machine runs into problems right off the starting line and then sinks like a rock when he gets out of the throttle at the finish line. In the meantime, getting ready to stage up as Herzog is pulled from the pit, Steve Abbott and the Total Obsession supercharged Chevy-powered Ford Bronco. The top end of the track now clear. Abbott gets ready for his attempt. 2.043 seconds is the mark it takes to get in. Abbott on the brakes hard. Will stop it in time. But the Total Obsession machine misses out by 900ths at 2.131 seconds. Abbott will not be a part of the Camel Shootout. Now on the starting line, one of the most entertaining machines to watch in the sport. This is Greg Haskins' Vermont-based risky business, nitrous oxide-injected Jeep CJ, one of the hardest launching machines in the sport of mud racing. You can see the blue canister of nitrous oxide that runs compressed into the engine. And as Haskin wraps the throttle, he's really not even touching the gas pedal. Yanking the front wheels with nitrous oxide power into the ruts at the shutdown area. The risky business machine at 2.25 seconds just misses making the cut. But on the starting line, newcomer Bob Wheeler and the Monster Master. You can see it's a nitrous oxide injected, fuel injected Chevy power plant. Ready to leave the line. The visor comes down. And Wheeler takes the green light countdown. No front wheel drive. But Wheeler's going to stay in the throttle. Unbelievable. Bob Wheeler finally takes his foot off the gas, and look at the remains of the Chevy power plant. After the front-wheel drive unit broke, Wheeler decided to literally go down with the ship under full power. What a wild finish to this qualifying round. That's a $5,000 mushroom cloud right there. So with qualifying complete, Tom Martin has both his team cars in the showdown contest. But coming up, we've got a showdown of another kind. A monster truck war you've got to see to believe. Stay with us. We're back in Oklahoma City at the Oklahoma City Arena, ready for the first round of eliminations in monster truck racing. However, word from the pits indicates there are 2 trucks that will be unable to make the first round of competition. Therefore, with only 6 vehicles appearing for that first round, one of the 3 losers will be reinstated for the semifinal round on the basis of the quickest losing elapsed time for the contest. So every driver has that in mind, a rare second chance to get back into action here at the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds Arena. And here is the number 1 qualifier, the awesome Bigfoot Ford of Bob Chandler with world-renowned Jim Kramer behind the wheel. And he will take on one of his youngest rivals in the sport, 19-year-old Greg Holbrook at the wheel of Gary Cook's Equalizer Chevrolet, the rear-engine machine, qualified number 4. And he will line up facing the Bigfoot Ford on the other side of the course. Now, both drivers will be running in a counterclockwise direction. They will share a common finish line located midway through the crush car part of the course. The objective is to complete 1 full lap before your opponent does. An extremely unusual layout that has already proven itself to be, especially in Holbrook's case, the great equalizer. Both drivers very late off the line, but it's dead even at the first half juncture. Holbrook takes the turn beautifully and is right with Bigfoot. Kramer takes the last turn. Here comes the kid. And the kid runs into problems on the last turn. Jim Kramer got lucky on that one. Holbrook definitely held his own with the Big Blue Ford until the very last turn of that battle. But Jim Kramer obviously still gets the wishes of the Ford fans in the stands as he heads into the semifinal round. That will bring out the number 3 qualifier, last year's Rookie of the Year, Rob Morris, in the 4-wheel crazy Ford Ranger. He'll be taking on the Nightlife Machine, Wayne Suzanek, the newcomer at the wheel of the gorgeous Candy Apple Red Chevrolet. In this particular matchup, there was a pretty sizable 7-second difference between these 2 in qualifying. And Morris showed us some of the best driving in that qualifying round outside of Jim Kramer and the Bigfoot machine. The winner goes to the semifinal, but remember, one of the 3 losers in this first round will be reinstated on the basis of the quickest losing elapsed time. Suzanek knows it. Rob Morris apparently changing his mind about how he wants to stage up the Texas-based Ford Ranger, but now he's settled and awaits the countdown. An incredible start for Suzanek. He actually got to the midway point before the incredible 4-wheel crazy. Suzanek goes a little wide and has to get in and out of the throttle. He still has an incredible advantage on the 4-wheel crazy machine. This could be the upset of the event, but Suzanek runs into problems in the very last turn, and Rob Morris shares the same luck that Jim Kramer had. Hats off to Wayne Suzanek. He made a move in that race. Now, the final pair of round number 1, pulling out onto the course, Gary Porter in the Carolina Crusher Chevrolet will take on Ron Dennis in John Moore's Tennessee No Problem Bronco. Right now, Greg Holbrook in the Equalizer has the quickest losing time of round number 1. Both drivers lining up their machines meticulously. You'll see them lining up, backing up, lining up, backing up, making sure that their approach to that initial set of crush cars is arrow straight. Dennis waiting patiently on the starting line, while Gary Porter is apparently taking no chances. The supercharged Chevrolet driver has backed up and pulled forward repeatedly, trying to get the yellow and orange machine straight on the line. Now he moves into stage. And Porter is apparently satisfied with the line he has picked. Waiting for the green light. Porter leaves the line. They are dead even at the midway point on the first straight. Now into the turns. Porter, a beautiful move in the Carolina Crusher, and he's picked up about a half-truck advantage, but look at Dennis, all kinds of out of shape. Porter will swing around the final turn and take the victory. Ron Dennis will follow up after problems in the last turn, but that was a race, again, like the first two in this round, that went down to the final turn on the course. And it is official. Young Greg Holbrook in the equalizer officially recorded the quickest losing elapsed time in that run, so he will advance to the semifinal. It'll be the four-wheel Crazy Ford against Bigfoot and the Carolina Crusher against the equalizer. Don't you go away. Here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, we are down to 4 machines in this U.S. Hobbit Association Camel Monster Truck Championship. The four-wheel Crazy Ford Ranger of Texan Rob Morris pulls out onto the floor to take on the challenge of the most fabled machine in monster truck history. The #1 qualifier by an incredible 3-second margin. Jim Kramer and the awesome Bigfoot Ford lines up alongside the newcomer in this sport to determine one of the two finalists. It's a pair of Fords and a pair of Chevys, guaranteeing the classic double brand war in the final round for the fans. Jim Kramer's qualifying run was one of the most astounding we have ever seen. Almost driving this thing like a sprint car pilot. Literally full throttle, drifting all 4 tires into the corners. But we found out already at this event and previous championships here at Oklahoma City this year that Rob Morris can handle this course right with Kramer. This should be one of the best matchups we've seen so far, including a first round that saw 3 races decided all the way into the last turn. Stage is awaiting the green. They leave together and are dead even at the halfway mark of the first straight. A bad bounce for Kramer. Look at him take the turn, though. Unbelievable. He makes up 2 truck lengths in the first full straight. Absolutely astounding ability. Jim Kramer by 3 truck lengths takes the victory and goes to the final round. With driving like that, who in the world can stop him now? As track announcer Mike Galloway put it, he makes it look so easy. Kramer, the epitome of calm, just yanking the steering wheel left and right, drifting into the corners and crossing the finish line 3 truck lengths ahead of his opponent. Now, the war for Chevrolet honors between the Carolina Crusher and young Greg Holbrook in the equalizer rear engine machine that made this semifinal round by virtue of being the quickest loser in the 6-car first round of eliminations. Porter once again taking a lot of time to line the red and yellow machine up properly. But one thing's for sure, one of these 2 drivers is going to have to show the crowd something pretty amazing to even gain a bit of favoritism over the Bigfoot Ford going into the final. Holbrook already staged. He's only waiting for Porter to get ready. While Holbrook does everything he can to keep from nodding off, Porter still trying to line the machine up on the other side of the course. Now is within a few feet of the starting line. Now both drivers are staged. Holbrook says it's about time, drops the visor and waits for the green. Porter gets the whole shot and has about a half-truck advantage at the first juncture. Now into the turns hard. He straightens it out, but Holbrook is back in the lead. Now Porter has problems negotiating the crush cars into the last turn. Unbelievable! Up on the right front tire. But incredibly, Holbrook has broken directly across the track from Porter. Look at the replay of one of the most out-of-shape runs that didn't flip a truck we've seen this year. Limping across the finish line, waving to the crowd, Porter goes to the final round against Bigfoot. What a wild semifinal round. When we return, the Crusher Chevrolet takes on the Bigfoot Ford. Stay with us. We're back at the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, New York. The final four qualifiers are ready for the Camel Mud Racing Shootout, and the first man up in this four-car war will be the winningest super-modified mud racer of all time. 45 national event victories in only the last 4 years. The first man ever to break the 2-second barrier in this sport, and now the defending world champion who has backed that world title up 3 consecutive times. Tom Martin from Portage, Indiana, in the nitrous oxide-injected, fuel-injected Chevrolet called Super Trooper, will be the first man up, and as we said, the 4 quickest qualifiers each get 1 shot, and the quickest elapsed time without being disqualified will be crowned the overall champion. In true Tom Martin fashion, he takes his time moving up to the starting line. But one thing is very obvious: the incredible ruts that have formed in this track right now may give these drivers fits when it comes to control. Martin building up engine temperature, finding a line down the center of this 80-foot-long pit, now leaves the line. And Tom Martin goes out of bounds at the finish line and wastes a 1.83-second run. Remember, not only must you stop the machine at 80 feet, you have to keep it between the poles. And Martin takes down one of the finish line markers and loses his chance to win the event in a disqualification. Meanwhile, that's the best possible news for this driver. David Ray, the 1985 world champion with the world's quickest full-bodied mud racing truck. A 3,000-pound wonder that weighs in more than 400 pounds heavier than the closest machine to it in competition. A supercharged, fuel-injected Ford engine on methanol. And interestingly, David Ray is going to be taking a line to the right of center on this run, whereas during his qualifying effort, he took it right down the center of the alley. The 2,000 horsepower Ford Ranger, ready to take on the challenge. And right now, any number he records, as long as it's within bounds on the racing surface, will take over the #1 spot. Ray is now staged up, having now finally moved to the left of center in the lane. He drops the visor and gets ready for the countdown. An incredible run, carrying the front wheel for most of the course. Look at the number, 1.783 seconds, the second quickest run David Ray has ever made, and he knows it. That will bring up Paul Schaefer in the Mud Patrol, the second half of Tom Martin's 2-car team for 1991. A nearly identical 588 cubic inch machine now gets the kill switch connected by the ground crew, the plug that will automatically shut down the engine at the 80-foot finish line on any run. Remember, these machines are restricted to Department of Transportation approved street legal tires, but the teams can change the tread pattern on those tires to any design they desire. That makes a lot of the personality in this category. Every team has a different idea as to which tread design works best, and they'll experiment with just about any configuration. Schaefer just saw his boss go out on a disqualification. An incredible run carrying the left front wheel most of the course. It's the quickest pass Schaefer has ever run, but it falls 0.03 of a second short. And now the only man David Ray has to worry about is the quickest man in history. The one driver who has been giving Tom Martin a run for his money in 1991, the 1.68 second 1927 Ford Model T of Milwaukee, Wisconsin's Jeff Acker called insanity. The supercharged, fuel-injected 2,000 horsepower Chevrolet machine must go quicker than 1.783 seconds to win the event. The kill switch is connected. Acker no longer needs to worry about the engine staying on or the throttle sticking on the run. He backs up and restages this incredible machine one last time. He's ready. Clearing the motor, checking the neck collar. And now, dropping the visor, getting ready for the countdown. A beautiful run on the brakes. He'll stop it in time. Was it good enough? He had to beat 1.783. He runs 1.794 seconds. By 11 thousandths of a second, David Ray wins another national championship event in the incredible Midnight Magic Ford. But in the meantime, there's another blue Ford looking for a win. It's Jim Kramer in the awesome Bigfoot machine. Certainly the absolute dominant force in this event on a rare oval course. He'll be up against Gary Porter's Carolina Crusher Chevrolet, which got into the final round in the wildest possible way. Jim Kramer actually staging up very quickly. We'll see if Gary Porter takes as much time as he did in the semifinal. No, they leave the starting line. Kramer has a little bit of an edge as they go into the first turn. A little bit wide for Kramer, and Porter is not that far behind in the Chevrolet. Kramer goes wide, almost hits the wall, now stabs the throttle, and picks up another victory by 2 full truck lengths. Certainly more on the ragged edge than we saw him at any other point during this event. Kramer in the final round let everything loose, and now settles the truck on top of the crushed cars to salute the crowd. What a job. Another absolute dominance of an event by the incredible St. Louis-based Bigfoot team.
Thanks for inviting
After battling the odds with a Ford-powered 3,000-pound full-body truck, 1985 U.S. Hobbit Association Mud Racing World Champ David Ray comes back to the winner's circle. In slow motion, you can see it was not only power, but manhandling strength that kept the truck straight in the ruts that had developed at the finish line. And was Dave happy? Yeah. That was the one you were waiting for, 178.3, and you did tell the truth. It did get quicker.
I told you, I'm getting better at this after all this time. All right, yeah!
This is the best year you've had in an honest 6.
Oh, yeah, this is great. I owe all of my guys that helped me, I'm telling you. Those guys are fantastic.
Remember, you got the winningest vehicle in history and the national record holder coming up behind you. It's going to be interesting.
That's all right, I'm so happy. I did fantastic.
Good job, guy.
Thank you very much. Yeah!
He was elated. Chris Chapman has Jim Kramer on the floor.
I'm here with a guy who is no stranger to victory lane, Jim Kramer, driver of Bigfoot. You put another one on the belt.
I'll tell you what, my Firestone tires really dug in and out. You know, it's around the corners. I was making more time around the corners than I was in straightaways, I think.
And while both drivers in that final round were working hard on the steering, listen to how hard they both worked on the throttles as well.
Kramer, and Bigfoot number 9 takes the win in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Thanks for being with us here at Nassau Coliseum. I'm Brett Kuttner. See you next time.